Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Lena and welcome to another recommendations video. If you have seen my videos for a while, you will probably have realized that one, Mushu is back, and the other thing is that I read big books. I'm a huge fan of big books, and since I was a teenager. When I was younger, I thought that the bigger the book, the better. So I would usually just bought the longest book on the bookstore. So yeah, I was that kind of person. I read the Song of Ice and Fire when I was just so young to properly understand it. But that's for another day. So yeah, I promise I will do another video of this, but with short books, because I know that big books are not everyone's cup of tea, but you know, for readathons like Tom Topple and such, you might need some big books. So let me show you a bit of them, but I'm not going to show you neither the Powder Mage, the Expanse, Brandon Sanderson, the Wheel of Time, nothing like that, because I talk about them pretty much all the time. So I decided that I would use this video to just show you some kind of more underrated series or more obscure series. But yeah, let's just get into it. The first one that I have here is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It is a science fiction book, and it was supposed to be a standalone, but a sequel came out a few months ago. This is a pretty hard science fiction book. It's actually a space opera, and it has gigantic intelligent spiders. It's hard, I know. I suffer a bit on those parts because you are following the humans that are looking upon this planet and these spiders. Oof, and it's pretty fucking disgusting sometimes. But yeah, basically Earth was dying, so the scientists took the ship, fly away, and decided to start life on a new planet, and they threw up some monkeys on there to just, you know, evolution. But things went wrong and gigantic spiders. But yeah, this is a super good science fiction novel. I'm actually planning on rereading it so I can jump straight into the sequel, because I have forgotten so many things that happened in this. But yeah, this is a great one. Then I have here a recent read of mine. This is the Fireman by Joe Hill, and this is a chunker. I mean, there are 750 pages of book. But yeah, this is a more of a post-apocalyptic kind of novel. We follow this society where people are growing this kind of fungus called the dragon scale that actually makes you what is it called? Well, it makes you combust, basically. You go kaboom and you murder many people on the way. The concept is super good. I will say that I only have complaints with the ending, but overall this book was almost a 5 stars. It's super good, and if you are into post-apocalyptic, I will highly recommend this one. And I mean, it's by Joe Hill. It's awesome. So yeah, check this one out. Then I have here Wanderers. This is kind of also a post-apocalyptic book. This is a fairly chunker one. Also, in this one we have our current world, but we have a plague going on. I know, it's not the best time, but it's a kind of sleepwalking plague. People are starting to get into this weird trance, and they are all coming together in every city, and they are just walking among the streets. But yeah, it's a fairly weird book, and I will say that I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, but overall it was just a super interesting read. It was so well done, especially the parts where you learn about the whole plague thing. Amazing. Then we have here a fantasy. This is Seven Blades in Black by Sam Sykes. You have probably heard about this book, and for good reasons. I really like Sam Sykes. He's such a cool guy. I'm obsessed with him on Twitter, and I decided to pick up one of his books and this is the first one that I have read. I mean, I'm in love with Sal the Cacophony. She's such a badass and she's such a good main character. But yeah, we basically follow her on her path to vengeance, because someone stole her magic and she wants it back. But yeah, that's a really rough explanation of the book, but I think that the less you know about it, the better, because you're going to enjoy discovering the whole truth behind Sal's story so much. And it's just like one of those floppy paperbacks. Yes. Then I have here another science fiction. This is Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. I always messed up. But yeah, this is a really weird but incredible science fiction space opera that mixes, I will say, that kind of fantasy elements, because they fight with swords basically, but into a science fiction setting. We are going to follow Hadrian, and he basically tells us at the beginning of the story that he is guilty of blowing up an entire solar system. So yeah, that's quite interesting. But yeah, I don't want to tell you much, even though there's one thing that is super cool, and that is that we have kind of gladiators in the first book. It's really weird, but it's super fun. So yeah, check out Empire of Silence. Not that many people have read it, and they're missing on something so good. I would really like to mention The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I'm so in love with this series. I need a third book right away, but these are pretty dark fantasy books. Oof. They have some really dark themes on them, but overall they're fantastic. I would highly recommend that you try it. We basically follow Rin. She just worked her ass off to get into this super prestigious academy and learning how to fight and become strategists and everything surrounding the art of war, basically. I won't tell you much about it because the book is fairly divided into two parts, and the second part just came as a surprise, so I don't really want to ruin it for you. But this is fantastic. Such a good Asian-inspired fantasy. I would highly recommend that you read it because it's incredible. Then, I think that I have never talked about this book in this channel. This is Master of Sorrow by Justin Cole, and I'm super mad because the release of the second book has been just pushed until next year, so it has already been 2 years since I read this book, and I'm super mad about it. The premise about Master of Sorrows is that actually we already know the story. We have this orphan child that is destined to great things, that is going to be super powerful, but what if actually he was the villain in the story? So yeah, he's going to fairly turn into the bad guy, and that sounds so interesting. I will say that throughout the whole book, you see some darkness on him that is just like, ooh, perhaps this is actually going to turn into the dark one. But yeah, it's a super, really good read. I think that is one of my favorites. I don't think that it's going to be everyone's favorite, but overall, it's magnificent. I can't wait to Master Artificer, something like that was the title for the second book. And I'm hating you for this, US, because I didn't deserve this. I wanted to read this book so bad. Then I have here Dune, and I'm not talking about this Dune Messiah. This is the sequel. I'm talking about Dune, the original Dune. And I'm including it here because it is big, but it's also so dense that it feels like it's really, really long. I have to say that I really enjoyed it, but the first, 100 pages are really rough to get into, so go there with caution. I'm pretty sure that no one needs an explanation about Dune, because, we're also getting an adaptation soon, which is going to be fantastic. I know it. I have so much faith on it. But yeah, I will definitely give it a try. I'm really into science fiction, and you for some reason have never tried it. But it's just, again, like a pretty weird combination between sci-fi and some fantasy elements. But yeah, Dune is super good, and I would highly recommend that you read it. But keep in mind that it was written a long time ago, and there are some things that you will be rolling your eyes for a bit, but yeah, keep that in mind. Then I have here House of Leaves, and wow, this book is weird, but I love it. I mean, it's so sad that I don't have it here with me, so I can show you what the inside looks like, because it's not that it's told in mixed media, but the whole structure of the book is just like colored. Sometimes there are red letters on it, blue letters, and it's just like makes labyrinth with every letter, or you have to read them backwards. Is insane, and it fits perfectly with the book. Because this book is a complete mind-blowing thing. Oh my god, it's just so weird. I don't think that this is going to be everyone's cup of tea, because it's really, really weird. But at the same time, I wish everyone had read this. Because, oh my god. It's something like this one. This book is from the same author. And it's just like, it has this really weird thing where some pages are pretty blank and that sort of thing. Let me tell you a bit about the story, because it's so hard to explain, but we have 3 different things within the same book. So the book is masking itself as a real published kind of investigation. And we follow this guy who actually found the Book of Leaves in this apartment after this guy died. So he takes it and he starts taking notes on it, telling actually his story. So we're going to have a mixture between this guy's story, the investigation work, and the thing that is basically being investigated, that is this film by this photographer that actually shows that his house was bigger on the inside than it was on the outside. Like the TARDIS exactly. And it's a really weird horror novel that is just so weird that makes you scared. That's it. I don't want to explain too much, because once you start reading it, it's written so weird that it feels like it's true. And you're just like, what the hell? And it has hidden messages throughout the whole book. So there are just like almost 800 pages filled with secret codes. It's so weird. It's so weird. But it's great. Then we have Strange the Dreamer by Lena Taylor. I love this book. I wasn't such a huge fan of the second, but the first one is magical. I love, like, this kind of abandoned city thing. So it has a trope, and I love Laszlo. He's such a cinnamon roll that every time that I think about his story, I'm just like, I'm pretty sure everyone has already heard about this book, but in case you didn't, we're going to follow Laszlo, and he's an orphan boy that is obsessed with this city called Weep. And one day he gets the opportunity to actually go and find out what happened there. So yeah, it's super cool. It's a really big synopsis, but this book is so worth it. I really enjoy Lena Taylor writing. It's just so whimsical and so magical. But yeah, read it. It's actually a pretty good long book. Then I'm not going to talk especially about this book, but I'll talk to you about Pandora's Star. I talk about that book on my video games recommendations, and it's also by Peter F. Hamilton. That's why I'm holding this book. But basically, Pandora's Star is actually a 1,000 pages long book. So yeah, all of Peter Hamilton's books are pretty big. But in Pandora Star, we basically follow this astronomer, and one day he's looking at the stars and one suddenly vanishes, which is not possible because there will be, I don't know, an explosion. But it does, and it just 1 second was there and 1 second wasn't. So they decide to make this crew go and investigate that, and I won't tell you much because the whole discovering of the star is so good. But yeah, it's really, I would say, hard science fiction. So if you've never read science fiction or you're not really into sci-fi, I wouldn't start by this one. But if you want to know more, I will be so happy to discuss it with you. Then we have The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. And I think that I have never talked about this series neither. And I love it. I still need to read the third book, but I'm waiting for the matching editions of the books that I already owned. But this series is so good. I will say that if you enjoy Brandon Sanderson, you will love this because they have such a similar vibe to them. More around the writing side, it's pretty direct and straight to the plot. But this book is so good. It has so many things going on, and we have different types of magic and cool twists throughout the whole book. The two books that I have read had so many good plot twists. Oh, especially by the end. It's so good. It's so good. And it's actually the trope of a abandoned city. You know, I'm a sucker for that. But yeah, let me tell you a little bit about it. So in this book, we basically follow Davian, and he is basically a mage. But in this world, magic is actually forbidden. And if you are discovered to be a mage, you're sent to this school to actually work for the government, or you will be branded and your magic will disappear, basically. David has a problem in that basically his powers didn't manifest, and is going to have a pretty rough time with his exams. So one day he just decides to leave, and he discovers that he's actually able to wield another type of magic. And I won't tell you more because the revelations in this book are great. I will tell you just one more thing. We also follow a guy whose memory has just been completely wiped out, and he has no idea who he is, and he's been persecuted, and you need to read this one. It's so good. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I think that I'm going to listen to the audiobook of the third book, even though I don't have the physical copy yet, because I just need to know how it's going to end, because so many things happen. Oh my god. Then I have here The Passage by Justin Cronin. This is actually one of my favorite series. It's another post-apocalyptic book, but it's actually a vampire apocalypse, and it's just so good. It's so long. It's another book over 1,000 pages, but they are all so worth it. It's basically divided into two sections. I think that it was just like the first 300 pages that are set in the present, where we follow Walgast and Amy trying to flee from this whole government, from this agency that is trying to hunt them down. And we follow this new cast of characters that are set, I think there is a 140 years into the future, but yeah, it's just like a really nice jump there, but it's so good. I love this one so much. I want to reread it so badly. I think I'm going to reread this next month, or The Stand. I don't know which one of those, but I probably will. By the way, if you want another chunky book, The Stand, it's so long. But yeah, I wanted to talk also about The Painted Man, but I have already talked about this. You need to try the series because it's fantastic. And I have 3 more, but one of them is Nosferatu by Joe Hill. This is a fairly known book, and it's so good. It's by Joe Hill, and it's really weird to explain. Basically, we follow Big. She discovers that she has this kind of weird talent where she can find lost objects, and we also have another plotline that is centered around what's it called? Charles? Following this guy that basically kidnaps children on his car and gets them to Christmas land. It's such a weird book. And the audiobook is actually fucking terrifying. So if you want to just, get into the vibe, try the audiobook. It's really great. But I want to talk about 2 series before we finish. One of them is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Wen, and the other one is The Moontide Quartet by David Hare. These are just 2 of the most underrated fantasy series that I have ever seen. They lean more on the more classical side of fantasy, but they are both so good and they are gigantic, both of them. They are also 4 books each, and I please tell you to read them because this is the classic battle between good and evil. This one just has these 2 continents that are connected once every 12 or 14 years. I don't remember exactly right now, but they are going to war every time they are connected, and they are both so good that please, if you have the chance to start any of these ones, please do, because they are fantastic. So yeah, I think that those were all of them. As I've told you, I've tried to just mention books that are not that well known, because I mean, I could just tell you to read the Stormlight Archive, but I'm pretty sure that if you haven't started, it's because either you are really intimidated by it or you haven't reached that part of Brandon Sanderson's work yet, because I mean, it's just so good. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!